There's a million ways that you can bet on the NFL, but one of my favorite ways to bet on the NFL is through the futures market, particularly in the win total over-unders. Today, we're going to talk about a handful of teams that I like their current lines right now. We will be using FanDuel here, and we'll just talk about these teams and also get into some of my criteria for what I think makes a good bet for assessing win total, particularly overs in this video. The Green Bay Packers are the first team here that I actually really like to go over their win total of 7.5. So here's where I'm at with Green Bay. Jordan Love is more likely to be average than awful because he's been in the system for years, even getting praise from Aaron Rodgers in the media. LaFleur is a good head coach. I can trust him to win 8 games very easily. Even with this roster, even if the QB play is subpar. Christian Watson is a great young wide receiver. There's still a lot of young, unproven weapons, and we'll see what Jordan Love and the OC can do with them. A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones are a young, inexperienced quarterback's best friend. Love can lean on them, and the Packers offense can lean on them to get them through a lot of tough spots, and especially in the red zone. Well, they'll be pretty dangerous if they can get there. The Packers have a stable offensive line, particularly with Bakhtiari on the left side, and then they have a lot of good players on defense. They're pretty good overall on the defensive side of the ball. Maybe not as good at run stopping, but they're good on the outside, good in coverage, and a lot of the teams in this division are also just like unproven teams. Like Detroit is the favorite, but they can easily just win like 7 games and flame out, or they can win like 12. Like, I think this division is completely up for grabs. It's going to be a crapshoot. I trust this team to at least split in the division and then win 4 or 5 more games elsewhere to get to an 8, maybe 9 win total. And their schedule is really light. Outside of their division, they're in the NFC. They play teams like the Rams, Tampa, Carolina, New Orleans, Atlanta, just to name a few of teams that we really don't know how they're going to do. These are all winnable games for Green Bay, and I think they're going to win a lot of these games and surprise some people. The win total line for the Seattle Seahawks at this moment in time is 8.5. And I think that's absurd. Geno Smith was one of the better quarterbacks in the entire NFL last year. And I think given that new deal, he will at least provide solid quarterback play for at least another 2 years in Seattle, even if he's not the long-term solution. They have an excellent wide receiver room with DK Metcalf, Jackson Smith-Njigba, and Tyler Lockett. The run game is now more stable than ever, adding Zach Charbonnet to the roster via the NFL draft to pair him up with Kenneth Walker, who was a monster runner last year. Pete Carroll is one of the more experienced head coaches in the NFL. I mean, given his age, he's been doing this for a long time. He has a lot of critics, but I think they can get over the hump within his time in Seattle. And they got insane production from their recent drafts. Plenty of young players, especially on the defensive side of the ball, like Tariq Woolen. And now they signed Draymond Jones, Julian Love to pair with Woolen, Wagner, Diggs, and now Witherspoon as another corner in the secondary. This defense is going to be pretty good. The offense will be able to produce with Geno being a solid quarterback. And I think 8.5 wins is a very easy number to atop for this team, given they play the Rams twice, they play the Cardinals twice, as well as a lot of floundering, unstable NFC teams. And a lot of the AFC teams they play aren't too scary either. And the level of quarterback play on their schedule isn't as high as it is for some teams. I like Seattle winning more than 8.5 games this season in the NFL. The next team's win total to go over their line set to 9.5 on FanDuel is Tua and the Miami Dolphins. I love Miami this upcoming season in the NFL. They were literally the number 1 offense at a point in time last season when Tua was healthy. Year 2 in the Mike McDaniel system, finally some continuity for Tua in his NFL career so far. The defense has continued to add talent with Bradley Chubb, Jalen Ramsey to accompany Xavier Howard, but the Ramsey injury sucks. At least he'll be back at the end of the regular season, where they do have some tough games on their schedule. Tua's numbers were insane last year, arguably an MVP candidate, etc. before the injuries, and you cannot really predict injuries. I'm going to assume health, and the schedule isn't really easy. The schedule isn't easy, but I think they can win a lot of these games, especially within their division. A lot of their out of division and even out of conference opponents should be easier wins for them, and overall I think 9.5 as the win total line for a team with such a high-powered offense, a stable defense, good coach, good quarterback, and all that other stuff, and I think there really are competitors in the AFC, so I think that's a bargain. And my final point of note is the Miami Dolphins actually signed a capable backup in Mike Effin White, just in case something happens to Tua once again. The Miami Dolphins really do check all the boxes for me when looking at win total lines. I love their line at 9.5, and I'm definitely going over with the Miami Dolphins in this season. The Jacksonville Jaguars are a team I actually recently talked about in a previous video as to why I think the AFC South will suck this coming year in the NFL. And Trevor Lawrence and the Jags are going to take full advantage of that. So you have a quarterback with elite potential in the NFL playing against potentially 3 starting rookie quarterbacks, 2 rookie head coaches in the worst division in football. He's surrounded by loaded receivers with Christian Kirk, Calvin Ridley, Evan Ingram, and then the running game with Travis Etienne, the versatile back that played with him in college, as well as drafting Tank Bigsby to have some running back depth. The defense is situationally pretty good, a little bit scrappy, and Trevor Lawrence is going to take another leap forward, I believe, in this year. In my previous video, I said the Jags were only going to win 10 games. I honestly think, after going over it some more, that 10 wins might be their floor. They might win 11, 12, 13 games this year. I really do think the 9.5 line is a steal for this team, and I would not be surprised if it went up to 10.5 before the season started. Here's the Jags schedule. They play in the easiest division in football, could win 4 to 6 games. They also play the NFC South, one of the other weaker divisions in the NFL, and the only 4 tough games on their schedule are the Bills, the Chiefs, the Bengals, and the 49ers. If they can win 2 out of 4 of those games, that would be huge. And with that being said, I love Jacksonville at over 9.5 wins, considering I see their floor as 10 wins. And the 2 teams that I'll consider honorable mentions for this video are the New York Football Giants winning 7.5 over. I think 8 to 10 wins is their range of wins, 8 being their floor, 10 being their ceiling. So I think 7.5 is a steal here. They're just too well coached overall. And then the Chargers, 9.5 wins. They're in a kind of tough division, but Herbert is just a mega talent. He's surrounded by so many weapons, and he just got paid. And I like that they now have Kellen Moore as the offensive coordinator. Their head coach sucks though, so we'll see. Next time I make a video like this, I'll try to address the unders, see the other side of the coin with these kinds of bets, and try to downplay some of the teams that I think won't have good seasons. But for now, thank you so much for watching.